Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, their habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. His name is Frank Castillo. Hey, Frank, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Thank you, Cesar. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. So let me just give the listeners a little bit of your background, and then we're going to dive into who you are, right? So Frank came across running his business for over 17 years, a cellular store. And he said, you know what, I got to go after my childhood dream, which is becoming an artist and traveling around the world. And so he sold his business and went after his passion. And that's amazing because a lot of times we tend to forget what we wanted to be as kids. And we tend to forget that passion. And we get so hung up on a business or an idea that really is not within you, right? So you went after your passion, right? Before I get there, though, tell me about where are you originally from and what is your upbringing?
I actually was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco. At an early age, my mother, we migrated over here, and from like 3 years old on, we settled in Anaheim.
Okay.
Anaheim became my home. I grew up in Anaheim, went to school in Anaheim, graduated from Anaheim High School, and just fell in love with the city. The city's beautiful. You got Disneyland right up the way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, family would come down. So I grew up in Anaheim, but not the best areas. We grew up in the neighborhoods, man. Just plagued with drugs, violence, and gangs, you name it. And my pops got caught up a little bit there. He was battling his demons. I think we all battle demons, And so we were exposed to adversity right from the jump,
Yeah.
In Section 8, you name it, man. I have 5 siblings, okay, and I'm in the middle. So we little by little, my mom's an angel. She's everything to me, and kept everybody together. And we moved out of that, and just kind of pulled ourselves out of that with the helps of course, a great families, churches that really supported us and helped us, get in a great space here.
Got it.
And we pulled out of that, and my introduction to my art started my freshman year in high school, as a matter of fact. How do you say it? Formally, because I've always doodled, I've always drawn, I've always had that passion to create. Yeah, I'm a strong believer that we all do. Pablo Picasso has a beautiful quote that says, "Every kid's an artist." The hard part is to remain an artist as you grow. And so I strongly believe that. So I started doing the graffiti art, though. It wasn't in school. It was in the streets, because that's where I was at, in the streets. So the graffiti art back then was graffiti. It wasn't street art the way it is now.
Right.
Which and it was very contraband and very so as you can tell, that led me to a wrong way too. Not to talk bad on my homies, my bros, but I got out of that, man. I told them, "Hey, man, I'm not trying to gangbang or do anything," because it was shifting towards that way. And they're friends, they were friends first before we started doing any of that. So I got out, and I never did the arts again, really. So I went 26 years without art. So that was in 1990. And I picked up a basketball and started playing some basketball, man. I balled out. I did okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, and I think being the fact that you're an immigrant coming to the States, like I can already see that being a challenge. I've been talking to a couple of people that have come into the show, and similar like I am, I'm from Mexico City. I was born there. I came here when I was 10. coming into the States or into a new society, it doesn't matter whether you're 3 or 5 or 10. At the end of the day, your roots are not from here, right? From America.
Yeah.
And just coming to the States, like, did you felt like you were not in a place where you can fit in, or did you feel like you had to be secluded to a particular community or a group of people that could have led you to, again, doing things that maybe were not the best choices now that you look back?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Coming in here, I was very young though, so I was 3 years old. So I don't think I learned the English. I still remember going to because we would go back and forth, and I remember going to school in Guadalajara. Like at a very young age.
Yeah.
And I just remember them whipping me with rulers.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, not really, man, because I was here so early. So I learned and adapted with my friends, and I embraced I just didn't know the difference really. I would go back. I still have a lot of family down there, and I would identify as a California American. And when I go over there and then come back, but I love my roots. So man, I love Guadalajara. I love my culture, and I stay connected with my culture. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And then in terms of growing up in middle school, high school, we get a lot of influences, and even as adults, sometimes we don't see it. We don't see it as vivid or as close as when you're in high school, because you have so many different people around you.
Yeah.
Yet at the end of the day, even as an adult, you still get influenced by certain people. You get triggered by certain people. And so I guess my question to you is, understanding what you know now is like, what could you done differently to maybe perhaps stay away from a particular group of people, or maybe not? I mean, how did you see that then? Because sometimes we're looking for that acceptance. We're looking for, we stay in an abusive relationship because we feel like we don't deserve anything better, or we stay in an abusive relationship because we are looking for that acceptance that even though it's painful and we know it's not good for us, we're still there, right? And you see that all around, whether you're a kid or not. So for you, did you see any kind of I guess any kind of missing of being accepted by a certain group of people, and therefore you got into certain different areas in your life?
Absolutely, man. I mean, growing up, there is so much of that, but I've just always learned to I'm still a student of personal growth, and I've learned to from mentors and just from feeding my brain to accept, and to embrace the adversity. There's a quote that I love that's real simple. It says, the obstacle is the way, So I've learned to really, instead of turning the energy and lashing out, I'm like, you know what, man, I embrace it, and I don't regret. I embrace it, because I've seen a lot of nasty stuff. I've done, I ended up in jail, man, for fighting, for drinking, for just being a wreck, and that goes back into my channeling my language, which is art. As an artist, I wasn't gonna be an engineer. I wasn't gonna be, I'm not a scholar, bro. I barely graduated from high school, so I didn't see that avenue, the channels that I believe is missing in the school system for artists, or for not necessarily, art can be many different ways. It's not just a brush and paint. There's dance, there's poetry, there's a behind the scenes with movie theaters. I mean, art is everywhere, and I never got that, and I got that from the streets. So yeah, I wish I had more guidance in the arts, during growing up as a school, as opposed to going to the streets and getting that love for the arts. But yeah, I learned to embrace the adversity and just go right head first. It's easier right now in retrospect. Yeah, sounds cool. It sounds, attaboy, but nah, it was hard.
In the moment, it's definitely not an easy journey.
It is hard. It's hard, but like I said, and another thing I learned was, being hard now is it triggers my mind. Say, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. When I feel like resistance, when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel like right now, I'm really an introvert, man, to be honest with you. But I know that this is the right thing to do. When I saw your post, an interview, I'm like, I was nervous, right? But I got to do it, man. If I'm going to get my message out, then I got to do it.
Yeah. One thing that I want to talk about is, and I don't know how soon in your life did you experience this, or if this was recent. Clearly, you've gone through a lot of things that you've overcome, and I want to tap into those things and understand what were some of the things that you ended up doing to come out of that. Because I feel like a lot of the people that are listening to us and are watching us, they might be going through something very similar, and so it's good to be able to bring that value, right? And
Absolutely.
so you talked about fighting for, I don't know for how long, so I want to know that, addiction, depression, shame, loneliness. Tell me more about some of those experiences, and how long ago was that, and what did you end up doing to get out of those different things?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because that's exactly what drew me to this here. You know, I started drinking. I started doing drugs basically since my freshman year in high school. So that influence was the cool thing to do. You know, I was part of that cool group and the graffiti scene. So I was really drinking and partying heavy. You know, starting my freshman year throughout. I went into business, 17 years in the wireless business. And I went, I would have my gaps where I'm very business driven in personal development. But then I would break off and go on a binge, drinking and just so I battled a lot of resentment, a lot of, and then from the resentment from doing stuff like that and just shame, knowing that I know better. And it's just a nasty cycle. But most recently was I got into a crystal meth. That's the nastiest thing out there. That's so dangerous. And I always told myself, Cesar, I would never touch that shit. I would never do that. Never do that. I remember from back when I had my cell phone shop. I was like, man, I can't. It just changes. It eats you up like that. And it's so cheap that it's like, man, you get an instant like dopamine hit, like euphoria that you've seen them out there, right?
Yeah.
The stigma is pretty nasty too, and I'm experiencing that too. But I get it, So I started dapping into that when I started painting 5 years ago. So I thought that I bought into that romanticized story version of the artist. You got to be. You got to be on something to tap in.
You got to be high to get this stuff out of your head, right? Kind of
Yeah. You got all these people, that are, who was it? Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, right? Kurt Cobain. I mean, these are all the 27 Club. That's what the music side. The art, you had John Basquiat, So I bought into that, and little by little, I was dabbing into it. Before you know it, bro, I'm fighting for my life, man. 6 months ago, I had a meltdown, a breakdown. I just couldn't sustain all this weight, all this shame. Imagine growing up with abuse, with the drugs. My dad was going through, and then to have to bring it back to my mother again. So that was hard for me, man. I was like, wow, man, I'm over here redoing, putting her through this again. Even though they didn't really know, but they did, Right. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, nobody knows. Bullshit, man. Everybody knew except for me.
Yeah.
And I finally tapped into this was happening right when COVID hit. So when COVID was coming in, I finally surrendered, bro. I said, you know what? I can't do this by myself, man. I keep on trying it, but I keep on, picking up a little baggie here, a little baggie there. I would get extreme highs, and then I would hit extreme lows. That the only thing I can get me back up from, being in my room in the dungeon, the loneliness, was to get another bag, and it was a vicious cycle, bro. And I tapped into Brené Brown. I highly recommend her. She's amazing.
Yep.
She's a researcher. She researches shame, vulnerability, all this stuff. And I started educating myself, like listening, and I'm like, man, shame, loneliness, and I'm like, check box, and the last check box, Cesar, was suicide, man. Oh, and man. that got me, bro. That was like, oh shit, I can't go out like this.
Right.
I can't go out like this. I what really drove me was, I was told myself, I think a lot of us, as kids, we say, you know what, I'm gonna buy my mom a house, I'm gonna buy my mom a house when I do my thing. And then when I'm sitting over here, my mom just bought a house, and I'm over here, and I started hearing things from my siblings. What happened? What if we have to sell it? What if we have to, we have to liquidate? I'm sitting there, fuck, you got to be kidding me, man. I'm the driving force. I was like the white elephant in the room, right? Mm-hmm. And I had to check myself, man. So with Brené Brown really educating me where I'm at, so now that made me conscious of where I'm at and what I need to do to kind of step out. David Goggins was another book that I really drove it down, hard, and I needed that. So there was a combination of a lot of things that put me in that position where I just said, that's it, man. I'm done. I can't do this no more. I'm done. I tried to check into a rehab right when COVID hit, man, and they weren't accepting anybody, man. So I was like, holy shit. So I really have to dig. Yeah. Spirituality really helped me, man, really calming my mind. My mind was just, you can imagine the racing. Right. And the main thing was I realized the only way that I was going to be able to write my own ending was to own my shit. Excuse my, I don't know if I can. Yeah. Just to own my shit completely. So what I did was I came out, man. I came out. I did my post is still there on my Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I came out with the truth, bro. I've been struggling. It was hard, man.
Yeah.
It took me like 3 months to hit that send button.
Send button, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I had to do it though. I had to just put it all out there. It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, Cesar. Yeah. It was unbelievable because now I'm accountable for myself. Now I'm open. Now I'm vulnerable. Everything that I learned from Brené Brown. I'm getting my creativity back because I don't have to hide from all this shit. And it was just a complete lie of you have to be fucked up to come up with a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. So anybody struggling, man, don't buy into that. It's romanticized. It sounds cool, but it's a complete lie, man. I ain't trying to check out. I've had times where my heart was like, I felt like stuff that, like, whoa, what's going on, Frank? So it was a very dark dungeon, which was this room, my studio, mm-hmm. that I was hiding from, running from, you name it. I created all this in my head, and I'm still healing, Yeah. I'm still healing. I'm still, really learning and educating and reading but in a deeper sense, in a deeper level. I know meditation scares a lot of people when you say that word, mm-hmm. but it's nothing more than just close your eyes and breathe, bro.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, and one thing that I admire about you said earlier is you're a student of personal growth, right? And even if you're still healing, you're going through that. I feel like if you stop learning or you start growing or you stop doing any of that stuff, then you're gonna start dying, right? At the end of the day, that's how I see it. So let me ask you this though: how does one get into? And I'm sure it's different for other people, but I wanted to kind of get an idea of how do you go from maybe perhaps being okay to getting to the addiction of depression, of shame, of loneliness. Like, how do you get into that? Because I think that it's not overnight either, right? That's something that gradually happens. And so if we can identify those things and way in advance, that someone that might be going through that same path before they actually hit that rock bottom, you can save them, right? So that's what I want to get from you is like, how did you end up to that place?
The reason why I'm still answering those questions on why I get those in, I had a rough childhood, very rough. I saw things, that any kid should never have to see. And I think I'm still traumatized there. There's an underlying trauma that I'm still, I still need to talk to some. I've never gone to the doctor for any of this. And I'm sure I got that ADHD, ABCD, ACDC, all that. Yeah. I'm sure I got all that, but it just creeps up on you, man. It creeps up. And one thing that has helped me is it's a community work, bro. I'm very active with the community. When I had my business, I made it a priority to go out and do free haircuts for the kids. Cause I also cut hair. So I cut hair. I go out there and I learned that from my father. My father was in and out of prison, but he taught me a lot, man. He taught me a lot. Before I would only look at the negative stuff, and hold resentment, and I was heading that way. I went to jail. I was heading that way. I was a jail barber, and I started looking at the good, and learning from Tony Robbins. I bought the first CD packs, back in the early times. Yeah, I was one of the students, man. So I've been personally developing since then, but I learned how to shift my perspective, right? And identifying that at the early ages is that shame, man. When that shame kicks in, it's because I'm doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
And then the loneliness, you kind of pull out away from that, and from there on, man, it's dangerous. It's dangerous waters. So what I can tell you, your followers is, and I've had this question asked before, is someone that's outside, like a family member has a member that's struggling. What do we do? What can we do? And I just got asked that question. I'm like, wow, that's a great question. And the first thing that came to mind was love and compassion. Just a good conversation goes a long way, bro. Like a genuine connection, man.
Right.
Love, just, hey, man, how you doing? What just a genuine, not scolding, and it goes a long way. But loving them and having some compassion, man, because that stigma is pretty nasty. And my family did that. They gave me my space, and then I got some calls from a few friends. People were reaching out to me. I was like, man, dude, I deserve to to put in effort for myself,
Right.
to live, to continue. Because the next step was a pine box, bro. It's especially with that drug, it moves so fast, and it works. It works. I mean, but the longevity, I mean, it's a quick.
Yeah.
It's a quick.
It reminds me of something. I was talking to somebody else about something very similar in the sense of sometimes we get hung up on on drugs. We get hung up on if you're single and you're looking for that man or female, whatever the case may be, right? You end up just kind of like having all these people, like, just left and right, have one new person every single day. And then it comes a time in your life where you're like, is this really what I want? I mean, like, if I'm going to continue in this journey called life, is this really what I want? The drugs, the females, the guys, the partying, the getting drunk, the waking up at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock every day because you just lost productivity. You got to ask yourself, at which point do you give up that life to have something better and bigger for the rest of your life? Or do you continue that? And a lot of times, I was talking to this one friend, and it came down to, like, enough is enough. Like, although all of that might be good for that 1 second, that 1 minute, that 30 minutes, that 2 hours where you find joy within that female, male, or drugs, or whatever the case may be, it ends. Because once you get back to your room by yourself, you're like, shit, man, I'm all by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna, it kind of goes back. You said either I'm gonna commit suicide or I'm going to end up in jail. It just doesn't look pretty at the end of the day, right? Yeah, and you've seen it too with a lot of people that are what society will see or perceive as success, right? Monetary value. I don't think success is just money. Yet if you look at it from that perspective, where there's been a lot of celebrities that have been very financially successful, a lot of money. You heard the stories where many of them committed suicide because of an overdose or whatever the case may be. They were lost in their head, and they couldn't recoup from that, right? And so it just reminded me of that. And so I guess one thing that I can see that you're doing is that going back to personal growth, just continue to work on that, which is amazing. Besides that personal growth, it seems like you found, definitely a long time ago, something to occupy your time, which is art. So let's talk about your art. Let's talk about your traveling. Give me more about that.
Yeah, man. So my art, I had another interview that spoke about that, and the title was "Art Saved My Life." Because art really gave me that voice, to be able to express through color. It's some of my work behind me that I'm working on now, but it gave me something aside from the business that it wasn't. I was burnt out from the wireless business. I was in the front line. I had a brick and mortar. I had a few stores. I was an authorized dealer for Boost Mobile, And it was great, man. It was a great 17 years, you know, entrepreneurship and just grinding, brother, hard, you know, and I just got burned out, man. And I had to check. And I was at the crossroads, man.
Yeah.
You know, at 40 years old, at the crossroads, I'm like, dude, I can't do this shit for another 5-10 more years. You know, I'm just not. This is not. I gotta find my passion, and it was there the whole time, bro.
Yeah.
You know, as I started, I read the book Gary V. You know, the Gary V. That green one, and I don't even remember the title of it.
Yeah.
But it was all about that. It was about finding, you know, your personal, your being aware, self-aware, and sure enough, man, everything led to art. I'm like, dude, let me start doing some art walks while I still have my shop.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just dab in there, see what the market thinks of my art. And I started doing some art walks, and sure enough, man, 6 months later, I still had my cell phone shop, and I was painting at night, you know, late, and just kind of pushing it, and I was selling some work, and I got voted a top 10 Orange County artist by OC Weekly. So that was a validation for me, you know. It's like, okay, the market, you know, someone outside of my brother, my mom, my dad are buying work, right?
Yeah.
So for me,
it's always the family, right? They're gonna be the very first ones to support you for the most part. I'll buy your product now. They're like, all right, who else, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's really like a rule for the artist. Like, it's like, all right, can you sell? If someone's willing to give you some hard-earned money, right, that you don't know, stranger, like, okay, that's validation from the beginning. And you start making it consistently. It's like, okay, well, maybe you got something here with the marketplace. The market doesn't lie, right? The market doesn't lie. And sure enough, man, I got that. And the way I am, man, I'm all in, you know. I'm go big or go home. I'm that guy. You know? Yeah. So I sold my business. You know, I sold my business. I'm out. I remember April 1st, 2016. I remember that day like wow. Yeah, like another weight lifted off my shoulder. Yeah. I'm like, let's go. And I got a little studio, a little warehouse, 1,000 square foot, just to do work. And I was just so excited, man. I just painted. But this is where that connects with the vice. You know, I picked up that drug right there too. So this was 5 years in the making that I was fighting along with my art. So I was painting and I was hammering away. Early on, it wasn't heavy. It was just like, I got a show and I need a Red Bull, basically, you know? Mm-hmm. So I didn't choose Red Bull. I chose this to give me that energy to keep me going. And I did it, man. I did as much as I can, art walks, everything, to the point where I got to the Sawdust here in Laguna. Mm-hmm. And you have to be that's like the mecca of the arts in Laguna Beach. And you have to be a resident to come in here. And I got in as a visiting artist through a friend of mine. His name's Star. He's also an artist there, and which I love, man. And we got in as a visiting artist, but that's where I had my meltdown, bro. I was sleeping on the side of the canyon, man, because I live like 2 hours away, and it was just a seasonal thing during the summer. And I just like, dude, I just can't sustain this, man. And I'm sitting here in Laguna. The thing is magical. Beautiful. I love Laguna, the Sawdust, but I was in a very dark place. And I took a 1 year. I threw my phone, literally threw my phone. Done. I mean, no social media, nothing for a whole year. But my art is I'm back, man. You know, and I'm in a good place, great place, and I have plans to go overseas and really tap into the art residencies. That they take you in, you stay for about a month or so, and you paint along with other other artists from around the world. And I'm super excited because I never knew that even existed, because the U.S. is a completely different towards the arts, you know, and not that great. Overseas, that's a whole nother business, man. It's a whole nother lifestyle. It's a requirement really to learn the arts, and there's so many things that you can get out of art education that will benefit you, you know, through therapy or through growth, through healing, everything in general, to express yourself. So art's been everything for me. But in retrospect now, you know, I did the business first, so that's kind of helping me. to turn around and market my business, and which is my art. But it's still, I've had many struggles, you know, learning by doing.
Yeah. And obviously art is helping you, you know, deal with those struggles. Are there any other things that you're doing besides listening to some really good speakers, Brené Brown or any other people? Like, what else do you do to help you, you know, go through this self-healing and dealing with the things that you're dealing?
Absolutely, man. Just to get back on Gary Vee, man, I don't want to leave him hanging. Crush It. The name of the book was Crush It.
Crush It.
Green
right.
book. Yeah, great book. But yeah, great question, man. You know, I had to tap into a community, bro. You know, I realized that my personal community, my friends in high school, I love them, you know, and but it's not the same. You know, when they got jobs and I'm an entrepreneur all in, it's just a different circle, right? So I had to tap in and Arte, you know. Arte, man, I was listening to Andy Frisella
in my head. Community?
Yeah, man, I'm part of that, and it just talked to me. It just really talked to me. I'm like, dude, I like this. And I was one of the founding members, you know, 3-4 years ago with the accelerator, and I was still pulling my shit out, you know. But I'm always tapped in, though. No matter what, if I'm going through things, I'm always, you know, tapped into something that I know is greater and is better for me. And so I'm part of the Arte family. I do a local events out here with a real estate guy, Danny Morrell, okay. You know, which I'm going to see this week to further my healing. Just anything that is personal growth and transparent, you know, because there's a lot of stuff out there that people are saying that they're really not doing it. So I really try to tap into the real, you know?
Right. Talking about that, and that's actually a good point. And I want to get your point of view on that in terms of your connections, right? And you talk about the network in that community, right? If we go back, you know, several years back where you were probably, you know, gang banging or doing any of or similar to those things, and, you know, kind of getting in trouble, going in and out of jail, whatever the case may be. And now you look at, you know, communities like Aratech or things of that nature. Like, how critical has that been for you? Or for anybody that might be in the fence line, whether or not they're trying to decide, well, what should be my average 5? What should be that community? Yeah. How critical is that? And how should people really embrace that?
Bro, it's everything, man. It's everything. It's super critical. It's everything because you are, like you said, the average of the 5 people you hang around with, man. And whether it's through spiritual, personal, or even your bank account. Right. You know, it's so critical. We just had a meeting, our monthly meeting where we meet, unofficial Arte, but Southern California group down here in Riverside. And man, it was so beautiful to sit down. Everybody's there, you know, on time. It's like, it was just sharing ideas, you know. And I put a post up just recently and I said, I don't know where I heard this, man, but it just really clicked. It said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, right? Mm-hmm. Wow, I was like, holy shit, that's deep. Yeah. So get to the table, you know, get to the table, guys, you know, share your ideas, share your beliefs, share your struggles, but you need to get to the table, man. If you can't get to the table, then you're really on the menu. And I love that, man. I don't know who said that, man, but it really, you know, it really resonated to me. And it's so true because that table is gonna determine, you know, where you go or what you do, how you go. You know, if you want, what is another one is you want to go fast, go alone. You know, you want to go far, you know, go together. You're right. So teamwork and playing basketball too really helped me. Organized sports is a teamwork. You know, this is team. So I played ball and I played at a high level in high school. You know, USC didn't draft me, or the Lakers didn't get me. You know, so my dream of basketball dreams was cut short. But I'm very passionate, and sure, man. During basketballs and in the games and gritting it out and pushing, my coach, I love them. You know, coaching. So I've always, you know, been in the team environment. You know, what's always fucked shit up for me, and I think a lot of people, is the ego, bro. I haven't talked about the ego. The ego is there to fuck shit up, right? Yeah. The ego is something that I'm conscious of now, And that's what meditation helps me like eliminate. Like, yo, man, no, I'm bigger than that. So that little voice, voice that's telling you all this crap. Yeah, you need to check that voice. You need to understand that you're bigger than that voice, and that's where I'm at right now. I never knew that before. I never understood that. It was just way over my head. I wasn't ready for that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now I'm tapping into that, and with listening to Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, and just things that you'd have asked me 5-10 years ago about, that I'd be doing this, I would have laughed, bro. Yeah, like, what do you get out of here, man? So quantum physics. I'm deep into the universe. That's really where I'm at right now. I'm just like trying to heal at that level where my body is like, it's just my body, man. We continue. So I'm really kind of attacking that fear head on in a way.
And I like the resilience. I like the attitude. I like the fact that even though you clearly have been very outspoken and clear about your own challenges, yet you're not letting those challenges define your future, right? I always tell people that the quality of life that you have today can determine your future. And so if the quality of life that you have right now doesn't seem good, your future is not going to be good at all. So you have to change that, right? The decisions that we make today will impact our future tomorrow. And you are clearly changing that. And one of the things that you said here is you are worth fighting for, and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And you clearly are doing that. You're fighting for that light at the end of the tunnel, because there is a light. It's just that some of us give up too soon. And it's different for all of us, right? You can never compare yourself like, oh, it took him 5 months and it's taking you a year. Like, you cannot compare yourself. Everybody's journey is different. Mm-hmm. Yet you got to realize, though, that at the end of the day, it's gonna take place, right? It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I really admire you for, is that resilience that you have.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Yeah, you have to. Be an entrepreneur. You have to be an optimist. Like ridiculously optimistic, because you're gonna get knocked down.
Yeah.
You're gonna. It's not a matter of if. No. You're gonna. Right? You're gonna. So it's I believe, it's not for everybody, as soon as when you believe blindly, where you're gonna head, where you're gonna see yourself visualizing, and then knowing that you're gonna run into obstacles, that helps, man. You have to have faith in yourself. I think Ed Milet says this, and he says, people want to believe that you believe what you're selling, and that's powerful, man, because it's true. Because if you don't believe in yourself, bro, it's gonna resonate. It's gonna come out, and people are gonna be like, "Nah, I'm good, man. Thank you."
Yeah.
So it all starts with you.
Yeah. Les Brown has a very similar quote. He said, "Sometimes you gotta believe on somebody else's belief that they believe in you, right?
Yeah.
You believe that they believe in you, even though you don't believe on yourself." And so it's true. Like, at the end of the day, sometimes we don't see that. And if you have someone on your side that kind of sees a potential, just have faith that if they see it for you, that it means that you can accomplish that, and you can have that too, right? And that's where it becomes a challenge. And I know a lot about, not in that deep level though, but I know it's not easy to go through that loneliness, to go through that depression, to go through, that empty space deep down in you. And it's not an easy thing to do. Yet you got to just continue to find something. Like you said, art is good. Sometimes the movement, playing basketball, that movement can also help you, because every time you move the body is going to release these chemicals that are going to help you just continue to move forward, versus just sitting on the couch or laying in bed, crying yourself out. I mean, if you want to cry while you're playing basketball, cry while you're walking. I've done that myself where I felt lonely. I'm like, I'm walking and I'm listening to Les Brown, Tony Robbins, whoever it is, and I'm here crying, yet it's part of that journey. Like, you got to keep pushing forward, right?
Absolutely, man. That's a great point, man. Because another thing that's helped me is gardening. My backyard, I'm gonna go out there right now, and I'm gardening. I'm actually putting stuff down. I'm building, and just the thought of gardening, just the quietness of being out there watering, putting in the work, and that's helped me a lot. That goes into basketball too. I do that. When I want to clear my mind, you know, and I'm feeling a little stressed out, I grab my ball and I go shoot, put my headphones on, and exactly like you say, man, I get emotional. People probably looking at me, what the hell is this guy crying for? Yeah, shoot, but it's a connection of the mind and the heart. That's and then I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do, and that's very powerful.
Yeah,
very powerful.
No, that's awesome, Frank. If people wanted to get your art, is that can they get it individual, or how do people can get a hold of you? Because you have very nice art.
Thank you, man. Thank you. My website, you know, my name is Francisco Castillo is my given name, and I paint under the name of Frankie Castle, which is just the English version of it. It was so frankiecastle.com will take you straight to my webpage. Frankie with a Y, and my Instagram is Frankie Castle, the same with the one. But basically my website. I'm also a Saatchi. In Saatchi Art, which is Saatchi is the biggest platform for online art and purchase. Saatchi spelled SAATCHI, SaatchiArt.com, and they're great. But yeah, I'm basically my website though.
And that's the best way where people can find you and connect with you too. If they just want to connect with you and reach out to you.
Absolutely, yeah. My website and my Instagram.
Yeah. And I'll have all of that information for the viewers so that they can actually go out and follow Frank. Frank, you've given us a lot of great insight, and I really appreciate your vulnerability and just being able to be open about it, because I think that there's a lot of people that could have or are going through something similar, and it's good to talk about it, right? I think sometimes just talking about it and knowing that you are not alone, that there's other people that are going through, like you clearly can see that you had a very successful business, you're a successful person, you have something going on for yourself, yet you're still fighting some of those demons. And sometimes the people that don't even have the financial success or have not been an entrepreneur that are going through that, it's good to know that there's somebody out there that is going through the same thing as you are, regardless of the level of success in a monetary perspective or a business perspective, right? So I really appreciate that. So I want to see if there's maybe one more thing that you can give me. If the people that are watching us or are listening to us, if they're going through some sort of challenge, whatever that might be, what is one thing that they can do now to start overcoming that challenge?
Pick up the shovel. Pick up the fucking shovel. That is that's actually what started everything for me. I picked up that fucking shovel, you know, literally. For some people, it may be a metaphor, or the phone, or you know, certain things. But for me, it was picking up the shovel. And I give a shout out to my friend Danny Hernandez, who actually bought some of my work. He's one of my top collectors. And he has a business. He has a ranch. And I called him just to kind of, after I opened up, and really started calling people, you know, on the list that I owe art, that I owe stuff. And I just started, you know, hey, dando la cara, you know, in Spanish we say, da la cara. Yeah. And I called him, say, man, and something came up where, hey, you know, I got some work over here, knowing what I was coming through, because I opened up and he gave me the opportunity to pick up the shovel, and I did, man. And that was the best thing that could have happened, because I'm out there just, dude, I had no, you know, you can imagine I had no muscles. I lost my weight. I lost my strength. I couldn't even pick up, you know, bags, but that was something that really I would recommend, is to pick up the shovel, man. To go out and or give back to the community. You know, that instantly gives you that dopamine hit when you help others. You know, even though you're struggling, you're helping others, and you see that gratitude that other person is getting from you helping them without anything in exchange, you know, not expecting anything in return. To do that causes a little domino effect where you get that dopamine hit, you get that gratitude, they get it, and everybody around you that's looking at what you're doing gets it too. That's powerful. So I would definitely recommend that. And not only that, man, Cesar, but I'm gonna extend it out, man. If anybody's struggling, anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm open, man. I will talk to you. I would chop it up with you guys, and whatever you need, man. I'm open to helping. You know, you go through this through the challenges, man, that I've gone through.
Yeah, no, I love that. I really love that. Pick up the shovel and get to work, right?
Yeah.
And very similar to that is also, if you're going through a challenging time with a relationship, sometimes it's just walk away, right? That's kind of picking up the shovel. Pick up yourself, walk away, and take care of yourself, right? At the end of the day, that's what you got to be able to do too. So, man, Frank, thank you so much for having the time to be here with me today. I really appreciate you being on the show, and thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Cesar. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, definitely. And for the rest of you guys, do me a favor. Please make sure you comment, share, like, and please tell people about this show. Like this episode right now, this was pretty good, and somebody needs to hear this message. The more we share, the more people we can impact. All right. So do me a favor. Stay tuned for the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything. Thank you so much. Thanks, Frank.
Awesome. Thank you, Cesar.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.